All right, let's talk about Frankenstein. And I mean really talk about it. We're going to go way beyond the classic movie monster with the bolts in his neck, because the original story, it's something else entirely. It's a tragedy, and it's absolutely brilliant. So you probably think you know the deal, right? Mad scientist, lightning strikes, a monster on the loose. Pretty straightforward. But here's the thing. That's not really the story Mary Shelley wrote. The original book is so much deeper, so much more heartbreaking than you could ever imagine from the movies. And that brings us to the real heart of it all, this one big question. What if the real monster wasn't the creature at all? What if it was the man who made him? See, this isn't just one horror story, it's two. It's the tragedy of a being abandoned by his creator, and the tragedy of a creator totally consumed by his own ambition and, well, his own failure to care. Okay, so first up, a creator's grand ambition. To really get this story, you have to get Victor Frankenstein himself. And he's not some crazy evil guy cackling in a lab. He was a genius, full of passion, and he honestly started out trying to do something good. Victor had a pretty great childhood, and it made him hungry for knowledge. He got obsessed with old alchemists, these guys trying to find the secrets of nature. And then he gets to university, discovers modern chemistry, and everything just clicks. His goal? He wanted to banish disease from the human frame. He literally thought he did end death. And he imagined this new species he'd create would look up to him and, bless me as its creator. Talk about ambition. And here's the absolutely wild part. He actually does it. He pulls it off. I mean, think about it. He discovers the secret to life itself. This is something people have been trying to figure out for all of human history. And this one guy, he cracks it. He basically becomes capable of giving life to non-living things. That's a power that's, well, it's supposed to belong to God, right? The scale of what he accomplished is just mind-blowing. But then, the moment of truth, his greatest success. And it all falls apart. In that one single instant, the dream just dies. He looks at what he's made, this living being, and he's just filled with breathless horror and disgust. The reality was a nightmare. And right there, in that moment of pure revulsion, Victor makes the worst decision of his life. He runs. Okay, let's totally switch gears for a second. We're now looking at an innocence awakening. Because from this point on, this is the creature's story too. And for him, it doesn't start with evil or anger. It starts with, well, total and complete confusion. I mean, can you even imagine? He describes his first moments as confused and indistinct. He wakes up and is just bombarded with sensations. The light is blinding, sounds don't make sense. He's basically a newborn baby except he's 8 feet tall. And there is no one there for him. No one. From his very first breath, he is completely devastatingly alone. And what's so incredible is how fast his mind develops. First, it's just basic survival. Light, cold, hunger. Then he discovers fire, learning it can be both warm and dangerous. But the real game changer? He finds a little cottage and secretly watches a family, the Delices. And by just listening, he learns to speak, he learns to read. He ends up reading stuff like Paradise Lost and starts thinking about who or what he is. This is no monster. This is a brilliant, feeling person, just desperate for a friend. And that right there brings us to the absolute heart of the tragedy. Section 3, the sin of abandonment. Because the biggest mistake in this whole story wasn't creating life. It was walking away from it. This one act is what dooms both of them. Look, the moment that thing opened its eyes, Victor had a responsibility, a huge one. He was its creator, its parent, its everything. And what did he do? He bolted. He left his creation, his child, totally alone in a world that was only ever going to hate it. And this creates a horrific chain reaction. Step 1, Victor runs away. Step 2, the creature lost and alone gets rejected by every single person he meets. So what happens? Step 3, in a moment of absolute rage after being scorned yet again, he kills Victor's little brother, William. Then, step 4, the blame falls on an innocent servant, Justine, who gets executed for the crime. And all the while, step 5, Victor is just drowning in guilt because he knows. He knows it's all his fault. And Victor's absolutely tortured by this. He says he's in a hell of intense tortures. But here's the key. His guilt doesn't actually make him do anything. He feels terrible, for sure. He's full of remorse. But it just paralyzes him. It doesn't push him to actually fix his mistake. So, this is the big question, right? How does this gentle, smart being become a murderer? The book makes it crystal clear. He was made into a monster. Every single human he meets, without exception, reacts with horror and violence just because of how he looks. And the creature himself explains it perfectly. I am malicious because I am miserable. It's that simple. He asks, am I not shunned and hated by all mankind? And the answer is yes. He tried so hard. He helped that family he loved, the DeLaceys, in secret. And the moment they laid eyes on him, they beat him and drove him away. When all you receive is hate, eventually hate is all you have left to give.
But believe it or not, there is one lost off-ramp, one final chance for this to end peacefully. The creature finds Victor and makes a demand. It's actually pretty reasonable. Create a female for me. Someone like him, so he won't be so devastatingly alone. He promises they'll go away and never bother anyone again. But Victor, he refuses. He says, I will never consent, terrified of what might happen.
And then Victor does something so much worse. He actually agrees. He starts to build the female companion, and the creature's watching, right outside the window, filled with hope. And then Victor, he looks up, sees him, and tears the new creation to pieces. He literally destroys his only hope for happiness right before his eyes. It's the ultimate act of betrayal. There's no coming back from that. And that's it. The line is crossed. Any chance for peace is just gone. The creature's response is cold, it's calculated, and it is absolutely terrifying. It is well. I go, but remember, I shall be with you on your wedding night. This isn't just rage anymore. It's a promise. And that kicks off the final brutal chapter. We're now in the Great Revenge. From here on out, it is just a downward spiral of destruction. Both of them have only one thing left to live for: destroying the other. And the creature keeps his word. He is methodical. He murders Henry Clarvel, Victor's best friend. And then, just as he promised, he kills Elizabeth, Victor's wife, on their wedding night. Soon after, Victor's father dies of a broken heart. In the end, Victor has lost everyone. He is just as alone in the world as the being he created. This mutual hatred pushes them all the way to the frozen north. The final chase happens across the Arctic ice, this vast, empty, desolate landscape. And it's the perfect setting, really. It's a perfect mirror for what they've both become on the inside: ruined, empty, and cold. Finally, Victor dies on a ship, his body broken from the chase, and the creature finds him. He stands over his creator's body, and his last words are just heartbreaking. He tells the dead Victor that his own agony was worse because of the bitter sting of remorse that will never leave him. He isn't celebrating. He's not a monster gloating over his victory. He's just a broken being, filled with regret, realizing that his revenge brought him nothing but more pain. So you see, Frankenstein is so much more than just a spooky story. It's a warning, one that's just as relevant today as it was 200 years ago. It's about what happens when ambition isn't matched with responsibility. And it's about the catastrophic damage that happens when we choose prejudice over empathy. And that leaves us right back where we started, with that one big question. Who is the true monster here? Is it the being who was born good, but twisted into something violent by a world that hated him? Or is it the creator, the brilliant man whose fear and failure to care started this whole cycle of tragedy? The genius of the book is that there's no easy answer.